Hey you, I'm the Queen of Shade. Welcome to the interview. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, oh, and hit my Cash App to support your favorite content creator. Now let's get to the interview. Mwah. The Queen of Shade. Let me tell you something. You're a bougie bitch and your mama is too. Said you're a bougie bitch and your mama is too. You're a bougie bitch and your mama is too. Said you're a bougie bitch and your mama is too. Salutations. This is your fabulous leader, the Queen of Shade, coming to you with a very special presentation. Getting to know amazing people from all over the world, bringing them to this platform for them to share their stories and for us to connect. The experience has been absolutely amazing. I couldn't have asked for a more viable way to enjoy my life. Having said that, I have someone else today that you need to meet. This young man, as we're going to discuss, is a professionally trained dancer and artist. We are going to learn about his start, where he's been, what he's done, all together. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I would like to introduce you all to the dance phenom, I'm saying it now, to the dance phenom known as Chris Miller.
Hello, hello, hello. How are you today?
I'm doing really good. It's been a weird day today. A lot of spiritual stuff's been happening with me today for the good, but it's been a day.
Okay.
How about you?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed and highly favored.
Yeah.
Um,
You're still in school, right?
yes, I am. I currently am. Actually just finished my first week of my senior year of college. So it was a whirlwind, of course, but just trying to get back, accustomed to the swing of things and just trying to figure out my way throughout this next semester. So yeah.
Okay. Well, we're gonna jump into who you are. I told him you were a professionally trained dancer, but he sent me a bio. But when I read the bio, I realized it was the entire conversation. So if I read the bio, we don't have anything to talk about. So we're going to go piece by piece. So let's start. Where are you from? Where were you born?
So I am originally from Los Angeles, California, Inglewood to be more specific. And I lived there up until I was around 4.5, going on 5 years old. And at that point, that's when I had moved while my parents were still married at the time. We had moved to Maryland in January of 2006. So yeah, that's really where my origin started and, led me to my journey in being here in this state.
So tell us, when did dance enter your life?
Surprisingly, at a very, very young age. More specifically, my mom knew since I was a toddler, really, that I was very artistically inclined. She knew from a very, very, very young age that I had a natural innate gift for movement.
Yeah.
Going from mimicking ballet phrases at 3 years old from one of my older cousins at a family function to doing backflips on the bed at 3 years old, which I know that stressed my mom out to the core, right? To choreographing my own pieces. Every time the Thomas and Friends intro song would come on, and doing my own little shindig or whatever. And from her observing me throughout that course of time, she realized that like I said, I had a natural gift for dance, for movement. And so upon moving to Maryland, she had just, kind of noticed my behavior and as I was, growing up. And she first introduced me to the Ailey company when I was 5 years old. And also around that time, she had put me into hip hop classes upon moving. And what's interesting is that one of her friends from high school is a studio owner in Randallstown, Maryland, and so she was basically my first dance teacher. And from that time, again, I was a 5-year-old little boy, just having fun, enjoying myself. I was dancing with my friends. I just viewed it as a hobby, and doing the pieces that she would choreograph, and she would always put me in the front because I was able to pick up the choreography so fast. And mind you, I was in a room with like 9, 10-year-olds at the time, so me being the only 5-year-old, it was kind of like a starstruck to her, and to the point where even the older kids would come to me asking me what the choreo was, right? And so going back to my mom introducing me to the Ailey company, she took me to see them at the Kennedy Center. And from what she had told me from that experience, that, during, while I was seeing them, that apparently I didn't blink not once,
Yeah.
because that's how entranced and how inspired I was to see people that looked like me, who were superheroes on
Yeah.
stage, and the way that they carried themselves and the way that they moved their bodies was just, it was just it I don't know, I just have no words. It was just out of this world. And so I remember her saying after that show that I was literally just like leaping and jumping, trying to mimic what the dancers were doing in the lobby, and just basically just like this bundle of joy, just sharing it with so many other people after that experience. And then that led me to growing up. And of course, during that time, I was doing sports. I've done basketball, I've done soccer, I've participated in karate, all on very high elite teams, and was very, very good at those sports. But I didn't become serious in dance until I was around 12 years old. And that was when I started, getting introduced to the So You Think You Can Dance shows, and, introduced to other dance companies like Ailey 2, which is the junior dance company of the first Ailey company. And that's when I, like I said, started taking my technical training seriously. So I was first introduced to a dance educator through a summer program, and she was one of my dance teachers at the time. And so, because she saw this gift within me as well, she invited me to train at her school. And it was called the DeVay's Christian School of Performing Arts, and they held classes in Columbia, Maryland. And so I was with them for about 2 years, and she basically laid the foundation for my technical training. So she taught me ballet, taught me Horton, the some other modern dance techniques, hip hop, just everything. And after that, I didn't really feel as though I was kind of going on to the next level, so I left from there. And around that time, I was also dancing in church as well. So one of my teachers, who was the leader of the dance ministry, she had a connection with the director of the community dance program at Towson University. And so she connected me with her, and I was able to get a scholarship to train with them. So that was during my 8th grade year.
Mhm.
And yeah, that kind of led into the course of being introduced to the Ailey camp. After that, that was also hosted at Towson as well. And that's where I met some of my current dance professors, and more specifically, one of my dance professors, or recent dance professors, she was the director of the camp at the time. Her name is Linda Denise Fisher Harrell. Shout out to her. Love her so much. And so, so she was one of my teachers. And after just being just around her and her energy, I was just entranced. Like, I just wanted to be around her after, like, just after that experience. And I just wanted to learn more from her, and what she could bring, and how she used her gift to inspire people. And that's what inspired me as a dance artist. And so I just wanted to carry on that legacy and that understanding to new up and coming young artists through, throughout these new generations, and to just motivate more people through this art form.
You know what? I love it because what I love is that what people don't understand is it takes a village,
Yeah.
especially being African American.
Right.
It takes a village to get us. Yeah, it takes a
Right.
village.
Absolutely.
Yeah, to get us to where we want to go.
Mhm.
And it's what I want. And I love that you're going through your story like this, and I'm taking you through your story like this because, I want people to see something. I've been saying this lately to on my platform as well. You got to be willing to do the work,
Yes.
willing to do the work. If you're not willing to do the work, you can't show up and say, hi, I'm America's next greatest this, or America's
Right.
next greatest that, or the world's next greatest this. And
Mhm.
they're going to look at you and be like, what do you have to prove yourself?
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
even with my career, I realized that it's very much, even though I'm an independent entrepreneur, I'm an intellectual entertainer, recording artist, international recording artist, ex model in Paris, and did all of these things. Doesn't really matter unless I was willing to do the hard work, unless I was willing to understand that you do the work first and then the check comes. And the
Absolutely.
check usually comes significantly later, like further up the line.
Right.
So I'm not done with you because you've gotten us to this point. So that was eighth grade at
Right.
Townsend University, TUCD, scholarship. While in high school, you were a part of the school's dance company, trained, and you trained with, now let me get this right. B Funk Dance Company
Yeah, correct.
as a member of the senior dance company.
Yeah. So I was a part of their so B Funk Dance Company is a studio, right? So they have two locations. The location that I was at was in Ellicott City, Maryland.
Okay.
So I was with them for about 2 years. I started going there during my sophomore year of high school, and then I left after my junior year of high school.
Mhm.
So sophomore year, I just went there just to take, classes, just to kind of get a feel of what that studio was about. And then I auditioned for their senior dance company. I believe it was the summer going into my junior year of high
Mhm.
school. And
Mhm.
so I was with them for a year. And that was actually the first year that I've done like competitive dance, or being in the competition world, and that was a whole different experience, right? So doing that, and after getting that experience, and it was definitely an eye opener to see what else the dance industry brought, and the other side of the dance world, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I did that. And then after going into my senior year of high school, I went back to Towson's community dance program just to take classes to, get into the college searching phase, and to,
Yeah.
again, kind of reintroduce myself in that program. Um, and yeah, and then at that point in my life, I was searching for different schools. Um, but in particular, I was really only focused on two schools.
Okay.
Of course, I was looking at Towson University, and the
Mhm.
second was the Ailey Fordham BFA program in New York.
Mhm.
Um, and so, of course, with Fordham University, it's a private school. It's really, really hard to get into that university. Unfortunately, I didn't get into the university, but I'm actually very glad that I didn't, because looking at the costs and how much it costs to go there, especially for me, because I would have been an out-of-state student.
Yeah.
I know I would have been in like probably $250,000 of
Yeah.
debt at this
Yeah.
point. So, and again, also coming from a single parent household,
Yeah.
that wasn't something that I wanted to put my mom through, even though, she's a very hard worker, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I didn't want to, commit to doing any loans, or, putting myself in jeopardy. So I wanted to just, go to school, and if they were to offer me a scholarship of some sort, then I can go. And that, fortunately, that's what Towson University did. They
Yeah.
offered me a scholarship. So, at the end, it all worked out. And I'm just so grateful that I get to be a part of this community and have been for the past 3 years now. And yeah, I'm just very grateful.
You know what I noticed before I go on? You love your mommy. You love your mommy a lot.
Absolutely.
That's a good thing because, sometimes when you're going into the arts, unfortunately for our people,
Yeah, I know.
never really pan out.
Right.
There are millions of talented Black artists that
Mhm.
never see the light of day because not because they're not good,
Right.
because of funding and options and
Right.
opportunity.
Absolutely.
And I love when I see a dancer such as yourself who hones his craft, but also uses his head. You didn't feel entitled. You
Mm.
didn't feel like, oh, well, this is what I want to do. And I'll just stick you with the bill. Like
Right.
you were
Right.
very much, but you know what I get? You were very much your mommy's little man. Yeah, you were your mommy's little man.
Well, I mean, luckily, like I said, I'm not a only child, so she had two within her
Yeah,
household. But yeah, she's one of the most important women I that I know and that I've been around, and I'm just so thankful for her and what she's been to me because she's really set an example
Mm-hmm.
for myself and my younger brother. And just as far as like just watching her and just seeing all of the stuff that she's went through and
Yeah.
how she triumphed and how she persevered through
Mm-hmm.
all of it. And she's still going through certain things right now. But she's a woman of God and she's a woman of strong faith and she's always held on to that since she was very young. Um, and I'm just glad that that rubbed off on me
Yeah.
and understanding of who I am within Christ as well, and
Yes.
knowing my purpose and knowing more of myself and knowing more of who I am and what I offer.
Yes. You're doing a beautiful job.
Well,
So
thank you.
you're
Thank you.
welcome. So I want to take you into summer intensives. You
Yeah,
did multiple summer intensives. Please tell us where you did these summer intensives.
absolutely. So the first couple of summer intensives I did was the Dance Theater of Harlem summer intensive, and that was actually held in Rockville, Maryland.
Mhm.
So that was about 2 weeks of an intensive, and I was awarded a full ride scholarship to go, and that was such an awesome experience. I got to meet so many new people, met a lot of new dance acquaintances, and made new connections, and yeah, it was just such a pivotal moment within my training and within my career. And then in that same summer as well, because that was the summer of 2018.
Yeah.
The following day after that intensive ended, I hopped on a flight to go to LA to participate in the Debbie Allen Dance Academy summer intensive.
There it
And
is.
I'm also a scholarship student there. And that experience was just, I I just don't have any words to describe like how that intensive really changed my perspective of being an artist, of being a human being,
Yeah.
and to learn from greatness. Miss Allen was one of my teachers, as a matter of fact. She taught us musical theater,
Yeah.
and so she was setting the West Side Story on us in learning that production to perform for the final showcase.
Yeah.
And she was hard. Don't get me wrong. She had expectations for
Yeah.
everybody, but at the same time, she was a motherly figure, and she was like that grandma that you needed that'll push you.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, like I said, made lots of new connections there, and I was out there for 4 weeks. So I
Yeah.
was there for a whole month,
Yeah.
and yeah, that was probably one of the most busiest summers I've ever done in my
Yeah,
life.
because it says that you also did the intensive at the Ailey School.
Yes,
Tell,
yeah.
tell us about that.
So that was this summer
Okay.
actually that I finally got to do, and I kind of have a little bit of a background story on that because it's been some time trying to do that.
Okay.
So,
You can share. We have time.
right. So this year was my third time getting accepted
Okay.
into the intensive,
Mhm.
but this was the year that I could actually go. The first year that I auditioned was in 2017. I was a sophomore in high school at that time. So, I had told my mom, like, like I really want to do this intensive. This is, I'm training at the Albany of the American Dance Theater. That's one of my top companies to hopefully be a part of. Like, I really want to train at this intensive. So, of course, she supported me, and, she didn't want to stop me, of course. And so I auditioned and I got into the program. However, one of my goals was to get accepted on scholarship.
Yeah.
And that year I didn't. So
Okay.
initially, right? So then a couple of months later, in I believe in April of that year, I heard that there was a scholarship audition. So I told my mom, I was like, hey, there's this audition. I really want to go. This is a huge goal of mine. So she took me up to New York to the Ailey School
Wow.
to audition. And mind you, I was 16. I was 16 years old at the time. I only had like 3.5, 4 years of dance training under my belt. I was an amateur, right? So I tried my best, but of course there was so much talent in that room. There were so many talented male dancers in that room,
How
and
how many of color?
oh, there were lots. There were lots for sure. Yeah, I would say probably the majority were of our folks.
Okay.
Again, all very talented. And, unfortunately, I didn't get that scholarship audition. But literally 2 weeks before I was supposed to go off to New York that summer, I sprained my left ankle. Yeah. So, and it was actually, and literally, it was my fault. I literally had done like a soda shaw leap or a split leap for simpler terms. And it was in my high school dance studio. And I remembered at the time, it was in June. It was in like early June. And I was in like unsecured sneakers at the time. So I was just doing a jump just for fun. And then coming down, rolled over my left ankle. So had to, get treated for it, had to go to PT. My mom had to call the school to say that I couldn't do it because I got injured. Took the whole summer to recover all that stuff. Um, and then the second time I auditioned was in 2020.
Mhm.
So I auditioned in February of that year, and it was in DC. And that was also the same time that the first company was there performing as well.
Mhm.
And so yeah, so I went there and I did the audition. I already knew what to expect and how the formatting of the audition was. So gave it my all, felt like I did amazing, and just put myself out there. And so I booked that audition and I got it. I got in, but not only did I get in, I got a full ride scholarship
Yes.
and I got extra funding to help me go with my housing situation as well.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, like, I was so over the moon. Like, I was so elated. I told like some of my dance professors, well, one of them was Miss Linda, who's a former principal dancer at Ailey.
Yeah.
So I told her immediately, and I told the chairperson of the dance department. I told my mom, like, I was so excited. And then, of course, what happens the next month? The pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And I, and of course, when I tell you I was holding on to faith, and I was just like, I was literally praying to God. I was like, Lord, if you just let me do this intensive, if you just let me do this intensive, like, this is all I want. I don't ask for much.
Oh
So,
wow, you
no,
did
no,
that.
honestly, like, this is like one of the top intensives that I wanted to complete, right? And later down the road, as the pandemic got worse, they had to cancel it.
Yeah.
And I was just questioning God. I was just like,
Ah, why are you gonna question him?
bro, yes. I was like, bro, what are you doing? What is going on? Like, what is going on? Like, after you showed me what was possible,
Yeah.
right? You showed me what I was capable of, and what was presented to me, what was available for me, and that being taken away for the second time.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So, I mean, during that summer, of course, like, I kind of worked my way around it. I took a couple of online courses to go towards my degree, and I worked that summer. But, I was still mad. I was still upset with God. But, you know, I'm glad that it didn't happen within my timing, and that I got to go at the age and at the state of mind that I currently am right now.
Yeah.
Because, again, Lord knows what would have happened to me as a teenager in New York
Right.
for 6 weeks, right?
Right.
So, that leading to earlier this year in February again, I auditioned, did the same old, regular formatting, got the same scholarship offer. Um, and yeah, and I did that summer intensive for 6 weeks. And when I tell you that experience was just everything and then some of what I wanted. Like it just, I don't know. It really just informed me so much of who I am as an artist and what I could bring to the table. And, it just allowed me to express more of who I am and to showcase more of who I am.
Yeah.
And I met so many new people inside and out of the organization. I got and it's so crazy because like literally throughout my time there, like the amount of first company members that I got to see in passing, like mind you, these people that I've looked up to for years
Yeah.
and I've studied,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like to the point where I've searched where I could find like interviews of these
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
looking at their bios and seeing where they came from and where they trained, and to see them in the flesh is crazy. It was insane. And so I got to connect with a lot of them further through Instagram, and I got to meet all of the Ailey 2 company members, and so I'm really cool with all of them. And they're actually coming back to Towson actually for their tech week, so hopefully I may get to reconnect with them. And I got to meet the rehearsal and artistic director of Ailey 2. So I have that connection with them, and they're both absolutely amazing. Shout out to them. And on top of that, I also got to meet the associate artistic director of the first company, Mr. Matthew Rushing. And those times and just meeting him, like they were literally so random. It was literally just like randomly seeing him at the front of the building, just about to go inside for my classes. And I remembered like he came up to me, he approached me, and he had asked me what program I was a part of, and I told him I was doing the summer intensive, and he was like, "Oh, really?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, I'm a student here." And so he was like, "Oh, okay. So like, where are you from?" And I tell him I'm from LA. I'm from Inglewood. And what's cool is he's also from LA. He's from
Ah,
Inglewood as well. So he was
ah,
like, "Shut up! Like, no way. Are you kidding me?" I was like, "No. Like, I'm from LA." But I told him I live in Maryland at this moment, and so he was like, wow, like that's so awesome. Like, so, how long have you been within this industry, or how long have you been dancing? So, kind of going down that whole rabbit hole and just having a conversation, just making a new connection. And so what was funny is he had asked me, so he was like, so what high school are you in? And I'm like, I'm actually in college. I mean, I listen. I'm 21 years old, right?
yeah.
I know I look young, but I'm not as young as what I used to be, right? So, he was like, "Oh, well, take that as a compliment." So, we just started laughing, and I told him I go to Towson University. He was like, "Oh wow, with Linda." And mind you, him and Miss Linda joined the company in the same year in 1992. So
Wow.
they did like so many like dance duets and numbers together. So they're like this.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, well, she's no longer there anymore at this time. Because she's the new artistic director with Hubbard Street Dance Chicago.
Yeah.
And so, she's on that journey, and I'm so proud of her for that. And so he asked me for my name, and I was like, I'm Chris Miller. And he was like, okay, okay, well, it was nice meeting you. And I was like, likewise. And I just got butterflies. Like I felt like I wanted to scream. Just after that first encounter, it was everything. And then the second time was after like going back towards the school to prepare for the final showcase
Mhm.
for the summer. So I'm with a couple of my cohort mates and we got, a couple of drinks, while going back to the school. And I randomly see him on the street. I believe it was on West 55th Street. And he slowly like approaches us. And I'm like, from afar, I'm like, wait, that looks like Mr. Rushing. And he comes up closer and I'm like, oh wow, that's him. So
Yeah.
then he comes up to me. He's like, hey, by the way, I got your email. Because I had sent him introductory email like saying, hi, it was so awesome meeting you, all that good stuff.
Good boy.
And again, putting myself out there, right?
Yep.
So he was like, I had just gotten out of rehearsal and all that stuff with the first company. And so he was saying, I really wanted to see some of the shows for the summer intensive students. And so I told him the times. And so he was like, okay, well, I'll try to go. And so after the intensive was over, I had sent him another email just saying, hey, it was so good seeing you again. And, I hope to reconnect. And, I really want to stay connected with you.
Yeah.
So he got back to me through email and was like, hey, yeah, like I got to see you at the first show. And you were absolutely stunning. You were amazing. Bravo. And just gave me so much like praise and accolades. And it was just so amazing. And having that connection with him it's just everything. He's one of my favorite dancers that
Yeah.
I've looked up to for many years, and he's a former principal dancer with the Ailey company. So
Wow.
it's full circle. It's
Okay.
amazing.
So get this. I want to stay there for a second. There's a reason why I'm letting you tell your story. It's because this is your debut. This is it. And when you become a huge dance phenom, because you're on your way, well on your way, I want to be the first one that says, I got the first definitive.
Right.
Sit down with him. I got the first. So you're helping me. I'm helping you.
Yeah.
This is going on. So get
Right.
to stay there for a second because I actually um, asked you to come to my platform because another dancer who you looked up to by the
Mhm.
name of Addison Ector,
Correct.
when you sent you commented under our interview,
Right.
and then Addison slid into my DMs and was like, I follow him. He's amazing. I was like, well, then I'm going to ask him for an interview. And
Mhm.
that's how it happened.
Mhm.
So you're making a great impression on the people that you once looked up to.
Yeah.
So you know what that means? You're next, you know?
God willing,
Yeah, ain't no God willing. God did will it. That's why you're doing it. But so get
Well,
this.
yeah.
So get this. In 2017, you were awarded something.
Yes.
What was that?
So I was considered as one of the Maryland All-State Dancer Awards,
Mm,
or I was considered for that. And so that was also when I was in high school at that time, and I was a sophomore again during that school year. So I remembered my former high school dance teacher at the time had introduced that opportunity to myself and a couple of the other girls that I had danced with on the dance company at our school.
mm,
And so we had auditioned, and it was actually held at the UMBC campus in the University of Maryland, Baltimore County
yeah,
school campus. And so, different schools from all around Howard County like came, and schools from all over Maryland came to audition, for that opportunity.
yeah.
So it was myself and I believe five other girls that I danced with did that audition. But what was interesting is that I was the only one, not only from my school, but within my entire county that got accepted for
Wow.
it. And that was like my first ever like dance accolade that I ever received. And that was like that again, that was such a pivotal moment because again, as a 16-year-old at the time, I did not expect to get something like that. You know what I'm saying? So that really kind of set the pathway to greatness and kind
Yes.
of just started my way in leading into, you know, building new connections and meeting other dance artists like myself. And yeah, just, you know, it was such an amazing opportunity. Never
You
forget.
have worked with a lot of choreographers.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to name drops. And please, please, please do not forget Debbie Allen.
Oh, no,
So
no,
please
no.
tell us the choreographers you have had the privilege of working with in your career.
Oh, of course. You know, I've worked with individuals such as Linda Denise Fisher Harrell, who was, again, one of my former professors, one of my former dance professors. Darrell Grand Moultrie, who I actually worked with when I did the Debbie Allen Summer Intensive. I worked with Jawale Willow Zoller, who is surprisingly a friend of one of my dance professors, and she came last fall when I was a part of the TU dance company, and she set a work on the company. And, you know, I had first seen of her, or I first came to know of her because she was commissioned to do a work on the Ailey company called Shelter.
Okay.
And it was an all women's cast. And that piece is, you know, I mean, I've only seen excerpts of it, but it's amazing, you
Yeah.
know. So, you know, got the opportunity to work with her. I've worked with, you know, of course, Miss Debbie Allen, who is an icon, you know, no more explanation.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I've worked with a plethora of other people that I'm just so fortunate that I got to the opportunity to learn from, and yeah, you know, just
Don't
all the things.
don't forget Anthony Burrell.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Couldn't forget about that. Yes, I also worked with Anthony Burrell, and you know what was interesting, the first time I worked with him was actually in the summer of 2019. And that summer, I participated in the NAACP AXO competition. And so he was the incoming choreographer to set a couple of works for the finale showcase. And so one of them was called Conglomerate. Now, if you've ever seen that piece, it's intense. Like, and it's honestly one of my favorite works I've ever performed. And actually, earlier this year, I don't know if you've heard of Philadanco,
Yes,
Philadelphia Dance Company.
I'm from
Um,
Philly.
yeah, I know you are. I know. So he's actually Philadelphia alum as well, and he's also alumni of the first Ailey company
Yeah.
and Ailey too as well. So he set that work on Philadelphia this past season, and actually got the privilege of watching that piece. And it was so cool just seeing it and knowing that I did that same choreography. So I was like kind of marking it in the audience, you know, kind of getting that movement, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, doing that piece during that opportunity, during that showcase, and it was just so interesting to work with him. I mean, of course, he was hard, you know, he was he was tough on you. He
Mhm.
was tough. But, you know, again, like that's just who he was. You know, he had high expectations. He was a perfectionist like me.
Yeah.
So he expected nothing but greatness for everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful to have been under him and to kind of be under his wing and to just learn more from him.
So you have received a plethora of scholarships and other awards. Tell us about it.
Well, I have received certain scholarships through certain Black sorority organizations.
Yeah.
I received a couple after graduating high school. I've received some other scholarships through the Maryland public education system.
Yes.
Um, you know, just I mean, honestly, I can't even keep track.
Right. That was the point.
Track
That was the
because it's
point.
so much, right? But you know, I have had the honor of of being a recipient of a lot of these other awards, and you know, through my college, through the College of Fine Arts,
Yeah.
here at Towson, and it's just again, it's just such a blessing.
Yeah.
It's such a blessing.
You have a minor in entrepreneurship.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Don't ever forget it because you're gonna need it.
Oh yeah. Well,
You're gonna need it.
absolutely,
You're gonna need
absolutely.
it.
Um, So yeah, that's also one of my other passions that I am very, very, very open and adamant about. And that's also something that I want to pursue within my career. And, hopefully after my performing career of, depending on how long I last as a performer, then I could, trickle my way into the entrepreneurship sector and also infuse dance within that.
Yeah.
So one of my business ideas is to start my own dance apparel line
Okay.
and to specifically tailor and primarily focus on um, targeting towards dancers of color, male dancers, and plus size dancers as well. Because, as especially as my experience as a Black male dancer and seeing the disparities within the dance apparel industry,
Yeah.
I knew that there were certain opportunity gaps that needed to be fulfilled. And I
Yeah.
knew that there were certain areas that needed to be addressed that I didn't really feel like were hit specifically in the target.
Mhm.
But through my experiences and through my connections and asking other artists and other dancers of their experiences and trying to get as much research and information that I could, I realized that this was imperative, and I realized that this was something that needs to be established,
Yeah.
So I'm in the process of starting this new venture.
Yeah.
And I'm working with a graphic designer who's also Towson University alum.
Yeah.
So, starting that process, and that's going underway, but I don't want to give too much and let
Exactly.
that story to speak for itself.
Exactly. So tell us, I'm so proud of you because you sat here and you graciously gave us your story. And I don't think you could have done it better. It's just it's beautiful. And what I love is you're very well spoken, you're very educated. It's very brilliant to see this in the arts. Because
Absolutely.
like I said in the beginning, this in the arts, we
Mhm.
take hits all the time. So
Absolutely.
for you to be in the arts and for you to be an example that you can have success in the arts, that is a brilliant accomplishment because there are a lot of people that just they're not aware, they don't have the opportunity, they don't have the option, to actually be successful within the art,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
So I'm so thankful and so proud that so many people rallied around you to
Mhm.
help propel you to where you needed to get to. So I have a question for you. You're in your senior year.
Yes.
What is next for you once you graduate?
Well, definitely, I've been looking into different companies of interest. I've looked into Broadway as an outlet, specifically The Lion King, which is my favorite show of all time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have a lot of different options, and I've already put myself out there to a couple of companies that they're kind of familiar with me. So, I feel like I've kind of set up a good foundation
Yeah.
in order to pursue these opportunities and to stand out, you
Yeah.
know.
You know, I've interviewed two other dancers that were in The Lion King. One is currently in The Lion King, but yeah, I've interviewed two that
Mm,
have been in The Lion King. It's just such an amazing thing. Like it is so I it's so funny because even as I sit here, I don't know if you're familiar with my story, but I was never given the opportunity to pursue art.
yeah.
That wasn't an option for me. My uncle was the one in the family that went to the performing arts high school and
Mm,
things like that. Me, I was an artist that kind of displayed my art here and there as
mm,
far as my ability to sing and my ability to do what I did, but I hid that. Like I hid
yeah,
that a lot because, and even in my family, I didn't really I'm going to say this because it's true.
right.
I didn't respect the art or the artist in me
Mm,
because I watched my family not go very far with it.
mm,
I watched, even my uncle, have the struggles and the different things. So it just didn't seem like it was worth it to me.
yeah,
It didn't seem like it was going to be fulfilling. It
right.
seemed like it was the vehicle that would get me to where I needed to go.
Mm.
And I am so glad that I was wrong.
Mm. Mm.
I am. When I tell you, I am so glad that I was wrong because, I tried to go the traditional college way. I wanted to be a veterinarian. I was studying biology, pre-veterinary medicine. I was going to minor in psychology. I was doing, cerebral work, brain, 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 brain. And then to be diagnosed bipolar 1, PTSD, and acute anxiety, to have those struggles and have to be medically withdrawn from college and literally not know what was next for me because
Ah,
it was just a difficult home life and
yeah.
have to go back. And I was the type of kid that there was nothing home for me. So my first year, freshman year, the summer going into sophomore year, I stayed at school. I worked for a partnership program for other children coming in
Mm.
and, did that. And then like I worked out all summer. I took classes because literally my life was at school. I didn't
Yeah.
have a life at home. And I'll never forget, it was very embarrassing. I never realized that mental illness could make you as sick as it made me.
Mm.
Made really, really, really sick. Chemical imbalance. It was really embarrassing, really hard, really isolating. I felt alone a lot of the time. And
Relate.
yeah, and then to be sitting on the bed in the hospital.
Mm.
I came from a religious background as well, but I've always had this connection with the divine. I'm now a shaman, a prophet, an oracle, a seer. Like I came into those gifts. But I remember sitting on the hospital bed, the edge of the bed, and I'm crying because my life is over.
Mm.
My way out has been dashed, and then what's worse, you tell me there's something wrong with my head. That's the one thing that I felt like was going to get me out of there.
Yeah.
My mother moved
Yeah.
us to the suburbs so that I could receive a college, education or a college prep education so that I could make it. And I mean, I was the type of person where I didn't even know I had test anxiety. I bombed the SATs. When I tell you I bombed them because I
Mm.
literally went in, signed my name, answered 2 questions, and I didn't know then, but I had a full panic attack and I had to be excused from the test. I don't even think I
Mm.
got a 790. And because of my grades, look at that. Because that's why I focus so much on my brain. Because of my grades, I applied to 4 colleges and got into all of them. And
Mm.
I didn't have to retake remedial classes. They
Mm.
accepted me like it was nothing. Like,
Amen.
oh, it doesn't matter. It's a test. It's fine. We see your grades. And I'm an intelligent person. I've always been. Even to this day, I'm not just your average entertainer. I'm an intellectual entertainer. I teach you something. That's
Right.
my whole zhuzh with everything that I do, is that I'm teaching you something,
Right.
and it's art. So I remember sitting on that bed early in the morning, and they were drawing blood, and they had to do that a lot because they had to watch the levels of medication that they were giving me. And I hate needles because my mother in the 80s did
Mm.
drugs.
Mm.
She did drugs. I had one of those mothers, and fathers. So I didn't like needles or things like that because I didn't want anything that reminded me of the harsh reality that I was made to live in the projects in the 80s.
Right.
So I'm sitting there and they're drawing blood, and we finished drawing blood, and I'm crying because I did a lot of crying. And I said to the divine, I said, I don't know what's next for me. I don't know what I'm going home to. I don't know where my life is going to go. I don't want to just collect an SSI check and sit on the front porch because we see those young men in
Absolutely.
urban settings. We see that.
Absolutely.
I had many friends that,
Yeah.
oh, he was special because he got a check from the government and he
Right.
up on the
Right.
steps and his mama managed his money. And I said, I'm not that. I'm not that. That's not for me. So I remember sitting there, and the divine said to me, when I asked the question, what am I going to do next? He said to me, you're going to finally use what I put inside of you. You're
Mm.
finally use it.
Mm.
And from that day, I was in that hospital, I think 30 days, 30 or 60 days, might have been 30. I started singing aloud, something I had never done in my life. People did not know I was a mezzo soprano. No one knew, not even my family. They heard me sing during
Yeah.
prayer and things like that, but not to the magnitude of what I was doing now because it became my passion. It became my reason to live. It became the thing that I was going to use to get out. And I remember I started singing and I never shut up. And that was 2001, 2002.
Wow.
And here I am today.
Right.
You see?
Absolutely.
And yeah, and it just, and I've had 16 years of therapy. I do take medicine to balance the chemicals of my brain, but I still very much am an intellectual entertainer. I
Yes.
don't, I like it, there has to be purpose behind what I do. There has to be meaning behind what I do. And there has to be, you have to learn something.
Yes.
And what I love about that is it's the same way with you. As a dancer, you don't just walk in and know what to do. You have to learn these phrases. You have to learn, these different intricate movements, and you're required to pick them up and to pick them up in a
Absolutely.
certain amount of time.
Absolutely.
So little does the world know they're breeding you guys. I always tell people dancers are the athletes of the world. Like
Yes.
you guys are the racehorses. You're the ones that, yeah, you
Absolutely.
guys are the racehorses. You guys are the ones that have to be ready. Like I have a friend now who I interviewed. He's on Broadway, and his cast won the Tony for the Michael Jackson.
Right.
Yeah,
Raymond Bernard.
yeah,
Yep. I know
Raymond
what you're talking
Bernard.
about.
See, look,
Yep.
I
Mhm.
knew you would. I knew you would.
Right.
Shout out to Raymond Bernard. So, like, I watch him, and when he does, because it's very private, but when he
Yeah.
does, he shares, him stretching. He stretches before the
Yeah.
show, stretches
Hmm.
after the show,
Yeah. I
and
see. I see him.
yeah,
Hmm.
and he's the one that taught me that on Broadway you use every form of dance there is.
Absolutely.
It's
It's
not.
multifaceted. Yeah, there's so much, I mean, just even in that sector, you could use anything, really anything from your training that you could pull out of your hat. Heck, I mean, like even for me, like I haven't done tap dance since probably like seventh grade,
Yeah,
but from the vocabulary that I have
yep,
acquired, that I have known, that could be used
yep,
a couple years down the road when I may be doing a Broadway show of something that's other than the Lion King potentially, right?
yeah,
So yeah, you're right. Everything that we acquire, all the knowledge that we intake is useful and can be beneficial for our journey holistically moving forward, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. What I love though, now I'm going to do what I do as a shaman. I see a very, very, very bright future for you. I see a lot of, you're going to be celebrated for a very long time because you're going to do things in dance that are just going to be amazing. You're going to give this world something to believe in. And I'm just glad that I get to be able to tell you that before you blow up and I can't get an interview with you.
Well, hopefully I don't get that big to the point where I can't be human,
But you know what?
you
See, you're
know?
saying the same thing I'm saying. See,
Mhm.
that's my thing. I do all I do now, and I
Mhm.
maintain my humanity. Now, I do guard my energy. I guard my
Right.
energy like the
Absolutely.
plague. I always say that. That's one of my lines. I guard my energy like the plague because people don't understand that what I do now is so cerebral and spiritual that I'm always working. So I need to be around people that don't pull on me, that don't require me to work, that aren't looking for me to be the queen. Even though my pronoun outside of a wig is still queen, I earned it.
Right.
You
Yep.
know, I,
Absolutely.
I, I need to be around people that are not simian. I don't need simian beings. I have a cat, but I'm
Mhm.
talking about people that are in their own greatness and don't require anything from me but just to chill, and
Absolutely.
that understand that because if I'm a lot of like I'm getting ready to celebrate my 40th birthday in the end of this month.
I know. I've
Yeah.
heard.
Yes, so I'm going to New York, and there's a lot of people. I have a huge following in New York, and they want to see me,
Mhm.
but I'm not going there to work. I'm not going there to do this. I'm
Yeah.
going to chill and be with my boyfriend. Like
Yeah.
that's what I'm going to do, and I'm only venturing out one time, and that's
Mhm.
because one of my best friends is bi-coastal. So he's a huge, 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 huge fashion eyewear designer, and he's bi-coastal, and he just gonna happen on my birthday to be on this coast. So I gotta see him. I gotta see him. I gotta see him. But for the most part, I want to say something to you that Snoop Dogg said when he thanked people for his career.
Mhm.
Make sure you thank yourself because you never gave up. I'm sure there were a lot of obstacles coming from a single parent home, but you kept going
Hmm.
and
Look,
it's going to continue to pay off for you.
absolutely. I mean, I can't even fathom enough words to just describe the things that I've witnessed in my life, the
Yeah.
things that I unfortunately had to go through
Yeah.
to help build me into the person that I am today.
Yeah.
But I'm so grateful that God didn't allow me to go subpar of who He created me to be, and
Yeah.
He allowed me to understand more of who I am and my purpose.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that separates regular people from extraordinary individuals. When you understand who you are, specifically for me within Christ,
Yeah.
and who He says that you are, and your purpose and what you're ordained to become,
Yeah.
everything aligns up. Everything will play out exactly the way that it's supposed to be. And
Yes.
when you master that, everything just comes naturally.
Yeah.
Cool.
I look forward to
You know?
I look forward to seeing what you do. And I want to say never lose your faith in God. Never lose. You know, sometimes we all get upset with him when things don't come as quickly or
Absolutely.
when things don't go our way. We're human, but never lose your divinity because
Absolutely.
that is the key. Even with me, it's the key. What I do, I'm like connected, divinely connected to God, and I'm able to do what
Hmm.
I say and move the way that I am. Without that connection, I have no connection. And if I'm not connected to him, I can't connect to you.
Yes.
You see? So
Hmm.
I want to thank you for coming out to tell us your story. That is still being written, that is not over yet.
Look, just like Miss Brown Clark says in her song, it ain't over.
Yeah,
It ain't over until God says it's over. So, you know, I I'm just so elated, and I'm so grateful to continue to have this opportunity to share more of my story. And that's really what I want. I want to be able to showcase who I am as an artist, to inspire more people to continue to find their purpose and
yeah,
who they are.
yeah,
Similar to what Mr. Alvin Ailey stood for. He believed that dance came from the people, and
yeah.
that dance should always be delivered back to the people. And
I,
I want to continue with that same sentiment.
I,
So in my journey, I don't ever want to feel like I'm being sidetracked or anything that's deterring me from my purpose. It's not going to go. It's
yeah,
not going to go with me. So, just continuing with that notion of growth and perseverance and trust within oneself will suffice for everything.
yeah, yeah. I want to leave you with this. There was a video I did today before I came on here, and it centered around what we've heard. Though some people say if you think the price of success is too high, wait till you get the bill for regret. We have a lot of motivational speakers saying that and using that phrase. I don't know exactly who said it first, but I wasn't the first person that said it first, but I added something to it. It's not, if you think the price of success is high and the price of, regret is high, self doubt is the biggest bill you will ever get. It
Absolutely.
will lead you, like, literally, self doubt kills dreams, kills
Absolutely.
opportunities. When everyone else didn't believe in me, I was believing in myself. When I had nothing to show, I
Hmm.
still was believing in myself. One day they'll see, one day they'll know, one day
Amen.
they'll understand. And that day is coming. That day
That's right.
is coming for me. So I'm so thankful that you have such a strong faith. Give me three words that inspire and encourage you.
Mm. Now, I've been thinking about this from
Uh-huh.
other past interviews.
Uh,
Um, Three words. One I will say is diligence, honesty, and perseverance.
yeah, I agree. Three very good words that will assure and ensure that you reach your goal and your destination. Yeah, you're de-
Absolutely.
or you're destined for an abundant life. Tell everyone where they can find you on social media.
So, of course, you can just find me at my name. It's just at Chris Miller with three R's at the end of Miller. And also on TikTok, if you want to see what else I can offer, it's the same. It's at Chris Miller with three R's at the end of Miller.
Yes. Thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Absolutely.
Don't hang up. Say goodbye, but well, actually, let me do my part first. Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard the vocal stylings of this gifted young man, Chris Miller. One to watch, one to continue to watch, one to uplift, one to support. Say goodbye, but don't hang up.
Bye, everyone.
So, did you enjoy? I hope you did. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and don't forget to cash at me at the Queen of Shade. I am your favorite content creator, right? Right. You want to see more of this content, right? Right. Cash at me. I love you. Mwah.
I've got my black stilettos on. Don't you make me take them off. I'm a